The Bicknell Newspaper building stands quietly on North Main Street in Knox County, Indiana, a modest structure that, to the unaware, seems like any other small-town building. Yet within its walls lies a haunting that has terrified employees for decades. Stories tell of ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and a feeling that the building itself is alive with the spirits of the past. Those who worked late into the night or arrived early in the morning often reported strange occurrences. The Pressroom, filled with heavy machinery and the scent of ink, seemed to whisper secrets no living person could hear. One employee, working alone during the late hours, recalled the subtle clatter of equipment moving on its own and cold drafts that swept through the room without warning. Shadows danced along the walls, shifting shapes as if the building itself breathed with unseen life. The camera room was no sanctuary either. Here, mysterious noises, scratches, muffled footsteps, the faint echo of distant voices, left many employees unsettled. Some dared not enter alone, fear what they might encounter behind the lens. For the stories passed down suggested that those who lingered too long could sense unseen eyes watching, breathing down their necks. To understand the haunting, one must travel back to the early 1940s, when the building was not yet a newspaper office. The front portion housed a restaurant, bustling with patrons and laughter, while the back served as a meeting space for the mine rescue crew. It was a place where men trained to face danger, where courage was forged in anticipation of tragedy. And tragedy did strike. The Panhandle mine, not far from Bicknell, experienced a catastrophic explosion that claimed at least 12 lives in what was the deadliest mining accident in the town's history. The air was thick with smoke, dust, and sorrow. Families were shattered, and the small funeral homes in Bicknell were overwhelmed with grief, unable to accommodate all the victims. Some bodies were kept in the mine rescue station at the back of the building, waiting for arrangements that would never come swiftly enough. It is said that these men, trapped by fate and circumstance, never truly left. Their spirits lingered in the building where they had once sought to protect others, tethered by unfinished duty and the echo of cries that could not be silenced by death. Employees over the years recounted sightings that defied explanation. A fleeting shadow in the corner of a room, a figure standing by the presses, and then vanishing when approached. The air would suddenly chill, the temperature dropping without reason, leaving goosebumps crawling across exposed skin. Whispers, sometimes clear and sometimes indecipherable, floated along the walls, echoing long after the employees had stopped moving. One night, a janitor arrived early to clean, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The press room was empty, or so he thought. A faint tapping began, rhythmic and deliberate, as if someone was testing the machinery. When he looked closer, the press seemed to operate on its own, the rollers moving without power, producing faint smudges of ink across paper that lay untouched. Fear gripped him as he realized he was not alone. Something, or someone, was here, bound to the tasks of a life interrupted. The legend explains that the miner spirits returned not to haunt, but to assist. In some accounts, the tapping of the presses and the moving of equipment were interpreted as guidance, as if the men were teaching newcomers, ensuring mistakes would not happen again. Some employees reported the sensation of being watched yet protected, a presence that was heavy yet comforting, like a guardian unseen. Still, the experience was harrowing. Cold hands brushed shoulders, shadows blocked exits, and tools would appear in places they had never been placed. Employees felt a constant tension, caught between fear and the inexplicable sense that these were not malevolent spirits, but men tied to duty, tragedy, and a world they could no longer touch. The Bicknell Newspaper building itself seems aware of the lives that passed through it. The walls retain the echoes of laughter, of panic, of grief and courage. The front restaurant area, now long closed, is said to exude faint sense of cooking from decades past. The back rooms, where miners once trained, feel oppressive with unspoken sorrow. Late at night, when the building is silent, the sounds return. The hiss of presses, the soft footsteps in the camera room, the low murmur of voices speaking in a language only those who perish would understand. Many swear they have seen fleeting shadows of men in old mining gear, standing silently by the machinery, staring, waiting, as if expecting orders that will never come. To work late in the Bicknell Newspaper is to step into a liminal space where the living and the dead meet, Some employees left their positions, unwilling to face the unseen forces that lingered with each tick of the clock. Others stayed, drawn by a mixture of fear, fascination, and respect for the men whose lives have been cut short. Whether the story is true or simply a tale to explain the unexplained, it is clear that the building carries the weight of history, tragedy, and duty. The spirits of the Panhandle miners remain, bound to the place that once sheltered them in life and death, ensuring that those who come after will remember, respect, and perhaps feel the same cold, lingering presence that has haunted Bicknell for generations. The Bicknell Newspaper is not merely a building. It is a tomb, a memorial, and a warning. For those who step inside its walls after hours, the dead may not rest quietly. They watch, they guide, they remember,